Hello and welcome to the Biomass Magazine podcast. I'm your host, Anna Simet. Thanks for tuning in. And today we're continuing our panel preview series for the International Biomass Conference and Expo, which is being held in Atlanta, March 18th through the 20th. And for these podcasts, we're chatting with some of our speakers just to give our listeners a sneak peek of some of the presentations that we have coming to the show. And today I have with me Will Latta, Vice President of BrightLoop at Babcock and Wilcox. And Will will be speaking on Track 3, Biogas and Renewable Natural Gas. Welcome to the podcast, Will. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Anna. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to the conference coming up.
Yes, me too. We're just a couple of weeks out. And I think let's start by having you introduce yourself and BrightLoop.
Okay, great. So as you said, I'm Will Latta, Vice President of BrightLoop for Babcock and Wilcox. A little background on me. I'm a career energy person, started right out of college, worked in the energy sector, had various roles, both with large multinationals and startups, bringing new technologies to commercialization, and then also working on large commercial projects. So kind of a variety, and also domestic, worked in the U.S. most of my career, but spent 10 years international. So kind of a broad background, but with the focus on energy. I joined B&W 3 years ago, and specifically for this BrightLoop technology. It's really an exciting technology that can do things that solve problems in the market that other technologies can't do. So for B&W, Babcock and Wilcox, for those that don't know the company, it's a company that's been around for over 150 years. It started as one of the main technology providers for traditional energy, coal, natural gas, petroleum. And like a lot of companies in the energy sector, it's been investing heavily in transitional energy technologies. And one of those is this BrightLoop chemical looping process. So we're excited. We have a number of commercial plants that we're building, and going to be excited to share that at the conference.
Yeah, so let's just dig into things. There's a lot of policy uncertainty right now, such as around the clean hydrogen production tax credit, CCUS tax credit, and the regional clean hydrogen hubs. How do you see these measures impacting the low carbon hydrogen sector in short and medium term? And then what additional policy support is needed to accelerate the transition to a hydrogen-based economy?
Yeah, so it's the energy sector is certainly quite dynamic. The Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 really helped a wide range of technologies move from kind of demonstration to commercialization. There's been a pause on those policies, and lawmakers are working to maybe modify or tweak those policies, specifically, 45Q, 45V. These are two, when we think about our BrightLoop technology, these are two of the key policies that we're most interested in. And so there needs to be certainty in that. We're building 30-year assets that need, certainly regulatory and policy certainty. And so that needs to get worked out. And, this is a good opportunity for the conference as well, because you're going to, everybody is looking at these recent announcements, and it's going to be a good dialogue for companies and developers and, probably lawmakers as well to share, what's happening and how they can support. So the bottom line is we just need certainty, right? Yeah. For us, 45Q, 45V, these policies all work quite well as they're stated now. If they're tweaked a little bit, that might help us a little bit, but we're okay with the policies as they stand. We just need that certainty.
Right. Great answer. So, Will, we hear about pilot projects for small scale demonstrations for innovative hydrogen technologies, but actual market adoption can be a different story. What are the key challenges in scaling biomass chemical looping from pilot to full commercial operation, and then what lessons can be learned from current projects in the field?
So for us, for this BrightLoop technology, it's been basically a 2-decade plus development cycle. If you go all the way back to the initial kind of desktop studies, they were done in the 90s, and initial lab work that was done kind of on bench scale, and then we've, gone through that, very traditional development cycle. As I mentioned at the beginning, B&W has been around for a long time. We're quite familiar with taking technologies from, early stage through, the development cycle to commercial, building very, very large commercial energy projects. And so, we've gone through that. And now, we're at that point where we are building commercial facilities. It's partnerships, right? Like really, you need to have that very robust federal, state, and local engagement. You need community engagement, you need local partners, good feedstock providers, good offtake, people that can work with you as you kind of move a project from concept through actual operations. So partnerships.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so no secret, scaling up hydrogen production has been a significant challenge due to technological and infrastructural constraints. What are the most promising strategies and innovations currently being explored to overcome these scaling issues, and then how can they be implemented effectively?
Yeah, so this is one of the things that I'll cover in my talk at the conference. Is we have basically 4 projects that are at different stages in the U.S. utilizing the BrightLoop technology. And in every case, we have quite strong local support. In the case, there's a project we have in Wyoming, Gillette, Wyoming, where the initial feed study, the initial engineering, and some of the initial construction is done through funding with the state of Wyoming. The state of Wyoming has what they call the Wyoming Energy Authority that allocates funding to projects. So for that, in the case of that project, we're working with Black Hills Energy and the state to provide that initial seed funding. So, that's what you need. Back to the partnerships. In the case of the project, we have another project in Louisiana. It's on biomass. And again, same idea, very, very good state involvement, local engagement to move these projects forward.
So, real-world pilot projects are crucial for demonstrating the feasibility and scalability of hydrogen technologies. Can you share some successful pilot projects and their outcomes, and then what lessons can be learned from these initiatives to help you guide future developments?
So for the BrightLoop specifically, we completed 2 substantial demonstrations. One was done at the National Carbon Capture Center. The second one was done at our own R&D center. And these were demonstrating the use of biogenic feedstocks and also, other variety of municipal waste, a variety of feedstocks. And they were done at scale. And since then, now we are building different commercial units. One of the key talking points in my presentation is we have a project in Massillon, Ohio, which is just south of our headquarters in Akron, Ohio. And in that facility, we'll demonstrate on natural gas, renewable natural gas, a roughly 5 ton per day hydrogen facility at that location. And from that, once you're at that scale, then you can, the energy sector. One thing about the energy sector is it's hard to do things small, right? You need scale.
Right.
And so this will be our final kind of demonstration to be able to deploy the technology at scale, at what we kind of call utility scale or large industrial scale, right? That's what our clients need. That's what the market needs. You need to be, in that kind of 200 to 300 tons per day of hydrogen production, to serve the market. So yeah, for us, it's, getting these first commercial units up and operational and then deploying the technology from there.
Okay, I got it. So what are the emerging trends for powering data centers for artificial intelligence infrastructure that are influencing energy projects and more specifically hydrogen?
So this is another part of that, market dynamics that's super fascinating that you see happening and we all see it in real time and it's not just kind of in the media, but we see that engagement from clients that the hyperscalers, this need is real, right? AI is happening and they're starting to need that infrastructure to meet demand. And so you have the data centers need a lot of power. that power needs to be kind of low carbon. That's what that's the U.S. market and the global market is really looking for, low carbon energy. And so this is a huge demand. We're seeing a lot of strong interest in the market because the data center. So the conversations are quite dynamic and things are moving quick. So once this policy, at the beginning, I talked a little bit about the policy uncertainty, that kind of runs its course, hopefully in the next 60 days or so. And then we can all get to building commercial units because the demand is clearly there.
Right. Okay. So there's a lot of discussion about permitting reform, particularly with more states receiving primacy. Any insight you can share?
Yeah, so this is, all of these pieces have to come together, right? So you need technology, right? You need market, and then you need to be able to, deploy technologies in a reasonable amount of time. And there's, currently we're seeing a nice review of what are those bottlenecks that are stopping projects from moving, quicker. And so that's happening at the federal level. It's happening at the state level. So more and more states are receiving primacy for Class 6 wells. That will certainly help accelerate the deployment time of a new project. And in addition to that, at the federal level, there's an overall review of what are permitting, as I said, bottlenecks that could be rethought or restructured in a way that just helps projects move more efficiently through their development cycle. So to me, that's a super interesting area. Like I said, this conference is coming out at a perfect time. There's a lot of dynamics in the market right now that the conference will be able to, really highlight that, and you'll see a very active dialogue because everybody's looking at this. Everybody's getting kind of feedback signals from their different constituents or different, efforts, and so you'll see that really come out in this conference, what people are seeing, and again, I think the next 5 years are going to be a great time for anybody in the energy sector, especially working on low carbon energy projects.
Yeah. Will, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. This conversation's been super interesting, and I absolutely look forward to your presentation coming up. Is there anything else that you want to add before we wrap things up?
No, that's it, Anna. Like I said, I'm excited for the conference. This will be, the timing is perfect. There's a lot to talk about and share. So I think it's going to be a quite dynamic and interesting conversation we have over the conference.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Well, thank you so much, Will. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Anna. Good talking to you.
You too. And to our listeners, catch Will's presentation, Biomass Chemical Looping for Decarbonized Clean Energy at 1 p.m. in Track 3 on Wednesday, March 19th. Learn more and register at biomassconference.com. Those who meet certain biomass energy producer criteria get in free. And with that, we'll wrap it up. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hope to see you at the show. Until next time.